Russia says that it will never give in to the EU's demands despite sanctions against Moscow.
It goes without saying that we are not going to discuss some sort of criteria for the removal of sanctions. Whoever introduced them should cancel them. We are not going to implement someone's far-fetched demands.
Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov says it is the European bloc that will be the loser in the wake of sanctions against Russia. He added that the total damage from sanctions could cost the EU taxpayers 40 billion euros this year and 50 billion euros next year. Lavrov made the comments ahead of his planned meeting with the U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry in Paris later on Tuesday. The crisis in Ukraine is at the heart of the talks. The U.S. and the EU have imposed sanctions on Russia, accusing it of being behind the unrest in eastern Ukraine. The West wants Russia to end its alleged support for anti-Kiev forces in eastern Ukraine. Moscow denies any involvement in the country. 7 civilians have been killed and 17 others injured in shelling in Ukraine's eastern Donetsk region. Local authorities say that several shells hit near a funeral procession in a village just outside Mariupol. The city hall accused pro-Russian forces of being behind the attack. Kiev and pro-Russian militias in eastern Ukraine agreed on a ceasefire in early September, but the fragile truce has been repeatedly violated. Ukrainian officials earlier said that 7 servicemen were killed in the east, mostly by mines. They also say that the army's positions have come under rocket fire more than 30 times over the past 24 hours. Meanwhile, pro-Russian forces say 27 of their fighters have been killed in the last 3 weeks while fighting for the Donetsk airport. Clashes erupt between thousands of protesters and Ukrainian police outside the parliament in Kiev. The demonstrators threw stones and smoke grenades at lines of police and broke the parliament's windows. Reports say that most of the protesters were masked and armed with batons or metal chains. The MPs were meeting inside as the protesters massed in front of Parliament. It is not yet clear what the protesters' demands were. The Interior Ministry said police detained at least 36 people during the protest. The clashes in Kiev come as unrest goes on in Ukraine's east. 7 Ukrainian servicemen were killed in the past 24 hours, despite a ceasefire between the government and pro-Russia forces.